Betsy, and today we're doing another part of my mid-year 2021 collection and declutter series. And actually today it's just declutter because it's massive, is eyeshadow palettes. Now, as you can see from the title, I went through and got rid of over half of my collection. Now, my collection is extremely excessive, and I want to make that perfectly clear. You do not need to have a collection like mine. You don't even have to have a collection like what I've pared it down to. I love makeup. I love reviewing makeup, but I am fixing to change my makeup buying habits because I want to try new things, but on top of that, I'm not getting enough use out of the things that I actually love. So I want to be more thoughtful in my purchases. So you'll kind of see that throughout. And yesterday's video, which I'm recording after this, so it's kind of a little weird, is all over my makeup low buy. I'll link it up here because I wanted to talk about that before I did this. But yeah, let's get into it. So here are the first 30 palettes that I'm getting rid of. First off is Urban Decay Ultraviolet. I bought it, I don't think I've ever touched it. Next up is Urban Decay Naked Honey. It's a beautiful color story, but again, I have so many neutrals. Then there's the Urban Decay Wild West. Beautiful color story. I actually really love that color story, but I have shadows that are better. Then we have the Urban Decay Naked Cherry. That hasn't even been touched, so there's a good one. Then we have the Alice in Wonderland palettes from ZC. So I have the Queen of Hearts, I think this one's called. Then I have, and the packaging on these is so beautiful. This is We're All Mad Here. And then this is the Dreamland palette. So that's what those all three look like. They're pretty. They're good quality, just not my favorites. Then I am getting rid of the Urban Decay Born to Run. Again, this is a mainly neutral palette, and these grungier shades I have better versions of in my collection. And a lot of these palettes I used to love, but I don't love as much anymore. This is the Trace Luche Beauty palette, and I'm getting rid of this because even though I love the color story, I think this color story is phenomenal. I wish the shimmers were a tad bit punchier, and I have these colors in other palettes that I am keeping. But it's not that it's a bad palette. Then I'm getting rid of the Violet Voss. This is Living the Best Life. Oh, I have so many of these. Then from Wicked Sisters Cosmetics, we're getting rid of the Invocation of the Spirit, the In Your Dreams palette, and the Slash My Heart Out palette. And again, the mattes aren't as pigmented as I always like. There's a lot of pressed glitters in them, and the shimmers aren't my absolute favorite. I think that they're good quality. It's just not enough to keep. I have things that I love more. Then I'm getting rid of these little mini Norvina Pro Pigment palettes, and I'm keeping the large ones, but I'm getting rid of the little ones. I love this formula. I think that they're cute. All those shades are pretty much in the big palette, so I don't need all the minis. Then I'm getting rid of the ColourPop Animal Crossing eyeshadow palettes. So we have the brown one that hasn't even been used, the pink one, the purple one hasn't been used, and the mint one. So 2 out of 4 I haven't even touched. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this. Like, I'm fixing to change my makeup buying habits. Next up is the Too Faced Teddy Bear palette. She's cute. I love the packaging. Then we have the Urban Decay Wired palette. I don't even think I've swatched that. There we go. Urban Decay Moondust. Now this is an oldie but a goodie. I love this palette. It's one of my favorite Urban Decay palettes. But as far as the shimmers go now, they're not super unique. I have these shades in a lot of other things that are better quality, creamier, easier to work with. So that's why that one's going. But I do love that formula. Then we have the Urban Decay Stoned palette. Then we have the Little Bit Psycho from BH Cosmetics. This shade came to me broken. Then I'm getting rid of the BK Beauty True Beauty palette. Now, the only reason I'm getting rid of this is because the shimmers aren't as punchy as I'd like, and I reached for it a lot when I first got it. It's just there are nude palettes that I prefer to it, so there's no point in holding on to it. Then I'm getting rid of the Lime Crime Prelude palette. I bought this and I don't think I touched it. Yay. Then I'm gonna get rid of the Game Beauty Adventure palette. Looks like this. Perfect. The Ethereal Bloom by Artist Couture. Again, I have, these mattes are a tad bit dry, and the shimmers I have in other palettes and formulas that I prefer. Then I'm getting rid of the Fantasy palette from Game Beauty. I like this color story. I think it's super pretty, but the pastels are weak for my opinion, in my liking. So there's the first. So we're gonna go through the next 30 now. So first off, we're getting rid of all of the She Glam palettes. These weren't, I don't know. So we've got the brown one that hasn't even been touched, which I love that color story. The birds that haven't been touched. The butterfly that hasn't been touched. The fishy one that hasn't been touched. And the wolf. Actually, I did use one of these. I did use the bird one. And you can't even tell. Again, just not my favorite formula. That's where we'll leave it, is it's not my favorite formula, and to me, it's not worth keeping in my collection. Not that I think these are bad, and if this is your favorite formula, that's okay, because everybody has different preferences. So I'm gonna get rid of the Huda Neon Obsessions. So we have the orangey one, because these neon shades weren't my favorite. The green, which isn't always completely green, and the pink one. So we're getting rid of those. I'm gonna get rid of the Urban Decay Game of Thrones palette. It looks like this. So there's that. The Urban Decay After Dark. The Trixie Cosmetics Plant Gay. The SS Chic Leviticus palette. I love the greens. Then I'm getting rid of the Spoiled Lips Cosmetics Slay for Selma, which looks like this. I don't think I've touched it. The Spoiled Cosmetics Ouija palette. The Givenchy. This is like the number limited edition 9.4, I think is what it's called. So that's the cool tone one. And then I have the warm tone one as well, somewhere in here. It may not be in this stack. The Sapphire Obsessions and Emerald Obsessions by Huda Beauty. My Wizards and Witchcraft by Storybook. My Mean Girls by Storybook. Ooh, don't drop it. The Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Storybook. The Just Peachy mattes. The Tarteist Pro. This came in a BoxyCharm. I don't think it's been touched. Then we have the Tarte. This is the Ocean palette. I really liked the glitters in here, but I never reached for it. There are formulas that I like a whole lot more. The Too Faced, the 20-year palette. The Too Faced Clover. The Too Faced Pumpkin Spice. Shared Planet, we have the Tiger and the Polar Bear. Then I have P. Louise. This is the Love Tapes palette. These are freaking massive. I like the shadows in these, but the palettes, look at this. I mean, to store that, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And then we have the Worldy palette by P. Louise. So, on to the next. Okay, so now we have the next 30. So we're getting rid of the Midas. This is the, I think, the Artistry Palette Volume 1.2. The Artistry Palette 1. Then I'm getting rid of the Makeup by Mario. This is the neutral, the Master Mattes, the Master Metallics, and the Master Metals. I'm gonna get rid of the PYT Beauty. I haven't even touched that. The Givenchy, this is the 9.5. This is the warm one. Yep, loosen the little brushes. I will grab those. Marc Jacobs, we have the Cherry palette from last Christmas. And then this was my favorite out of these little 5. This is the Editorial. I've kept that one for a while. Then the NARS Saint Germain palette. I prefer the other 9 pan by NAR over that one. I don't think that it's bad. Then we're getting rid of the Fenty Snap Shadows in 9 and 10, which is like the Money, Honey, and Wine. One's money and one's wine. Okay, because those weren't my favorite formula. The Colored Rain Vineyard Soiree. Then I'm getting rid of all of the e.l.f. bite size. So we've got, this is the Cream and Sugar, the Berry Bad, the Truffles, Carnival Candy, I See You, SSEU, Pumpkin Pie, Rose Water, and Hot Jalapeno. I think that they're beautiful, but again, I just don't need them. We're gonna get rid of the quads from ColourPop for Hello Kitty. So there's the pink one, the blue one, the yellow one, and the orange one. Then from Rare Beauty, I bought both of the little metallic palettes. So we've got the purpley pink one. And then we have the blue-green one. And then I'm gonna get rid of these 2 little neon palettes from Lottie London. And I'm gonna get rid of the Glam Quad, the Party Glam from Makeup by Mario. So let's go to the next. So now on to our next 30. I'm gonna get rid of the Revolution Pro Earth and Stone, the Too Faced Life's a Festival, the Too Faced Pretty Rich, the Pure and Barbie. This is the first one. The Too Faced Chocolate Gold, if I can open it. Then we've got the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice. Then I'm getting rid of, this is, I don't even know how to say it, but it's little 6 pan. Getting rid of the Pretty Hearts. That's a beautiful color story, but again, don't need it. The Nice palette by BH. The Peppermint Mocha palette by Ruby May Cosmetics. The Pumpkin Spice by Ruby May Cosmetics. The Blushed palette by Juvia's Place. The Sweet Pinks palette by Juvia's Place. The Chocolates by Juvia's Place. The Violets by Juvia's Place. The Nudes by Juvia's Place. The Berries by Juvia's Place. And there's going to be a lot of Juvia's Place in this, and we'll just say the rest of these are Juvia's Place, because their formula isn't, like, I used to really love Juvia's Place. I don't as much as I did. This is the Mauves, the Nubian Royal, the Nubian Glow, the collaboration with Yami Angelina, the Taupes. Then we have Disco Party, Melissa, Honey, Army, the Mints, the Grays, and then I have 2 by Oma Beauty, and these are with the collab that I bought for coming to America. there we go. So on to the next. Now we're on to the next 30. So we've got the Good as Gold from ColourPop, the Gimme Butterflies by ColourPop, the Flutterby by ColourPop, the Butter Me Up by ColourPop, the Sandstone by ColourPop, the Elf in Chipotle, which hasn't even been used. I don't think I've even touched a shadow in here. The Deuce by Juvia's Place, the Fade into Hue by ColourPop, the Saint and Sinner palette by KVD, the Night Moves palette by Lit Cosmetics, the Garden Variety palette by ColourPop, the Lois Cosmetics Meet Me in the Underworld. So many palettes. So many palettes. Then we've got the Head in the Clouds by Made by Mitchell, the Feet on the Ground by Made by Mitchell, the Mini Mitchell Volume 1, the Flower Bomb palette by Midas, the Smoky Glow palette by Midas, the Perception palette by Midas, the Genesis palette by Midas, the Milani palette. This is the Gilded Rose, I think. I think that's what this one, yeah, Gilded Rouge. The Nabla Side by Side. The Nabla Secret palette. This is a beautiful color story, but I have it so many times before. The Nomad Orient Express. The Nomad Cartagena Magica. The Pure and Raw Beauty Christie. I prefer the ColourPop collab to this one. Mama Pat, I am getting rid of her palette, one of hers. This is the Mothership, I forget this one is, Rose Decadence. This was not my favorite formula by Pat, and I have these colors again by her, so I don't need it. The Night and Day palette by Revolution Pro, and the Smoke and Mirrors by Revolution Pro. The Sally palette from Makeup Revolution. I don't think I've even used it. And the Jack palette. I bought these because I'm a Disney obsessed and I don't like Makeup Revolution's formula. So on to the next. So now we're here for another 30 palettes. So I'm getting rid of the Ace Beauté Oceanic palette and the Ace Beauté Nostalgia palette. They changed formulas, so even though I think those are beautiful palettes, there's no point in keeping them. I'm gonna get rid of the Lorac Tell as Old as Time. I think that's from like 2016, 2017. Beauty and the Beast, old. I'm getting rid of the Glam Shop Celebre palette. This is gorgeous, I love the shimmers, but again, I have those in so many palettes. The Saharan by Juvia's Place, the Festival by Juvia's Place, the Lush Life palette by ColourPop, the Cabana Club palette by ColourPop, the All That palette by ColourPop, the A Flutter palette by ColourPop, notice a trend, the Birdie palette by ColourPop, the High Tide by ColourPop, that's not even used, the Fine Feathered by ColourPop, the Hello Kitty, this is the winter one, ColourPop again, the Cherry Crush, then I'm getting rid of the Ditto the Galaxy palette. Again, these are beautiful and I like them, it's just not as much as other stuff. And then I'm getting rid of, this is the Venus palette by Ditto as well. Then it's the Bitty palette from ColourPop. You Are My Sunshine. I never even used that. Night Owl. Bird of Paradise. Lovebird. Then from Clarity Cosmetics, the Berry Royal palette. This formula is nice and pigmented. The mattes are a little bit hard to work with, and so are the shimmers, so that's why it's going away. The Serum Mermazing palette by Clarity. The VIP Private Party by Clarity. The Coffee, or I Love Coffee by Clarity. This is Kylie's Birthday palette from Kylie Cosmetics. Then I'm getting rid of the mini metal matte from KVD. The MAC Botanic Panic palette. The Hey Hey Vacay by LA Girl. And the Main Stage by LA Girl. So, on to the next. So we're gonna film the last 35. So, first up we have the Witch's Brew palette by Bombay Cosmetics. Looks like that. Gorgeous color story. The Palomino palette by CXC Beauty. The Juicy Boost by Colored Rain. The Zulu by Juvia's Place. The next few are going to be by Juvia's Place. The Masquerade. The Nubian 2. The Glam Light Pie palette. The Naughty palette by BH Cosmetics. The Zodiac palette, the original one by BH Cosmetics. The Love Signs palette by BH Cosmetics. The Lunar New Year. The Blueberry Muffin. The Passion in Paris. These haven't even been used. The Party in Puerto Rico. Party in Puerto Rico. The Full On Crazy. These are all BH. The BFF, Alondra and who? Elsie. Okay, next up from Give Me Glow, we've got the Grunge Palette. These kind of remind me of Clarity, where they're great eyeshadows. It's just they're harder to work with, and this is the Christmas Morning palette by Give Me Glow. The Vintage Rose by Give Me Glow. The Vivid Rose by Give Me Glow. And the Sweet and Sticky by Give Me Glow. But their shadows are a little bit harder to work with, so they're not or at least they are for me, so they're not my favorite formula. Then this is the Hip Dot and Hello Kitty. The Club Daddy by Artist Couture. The Lime Crime Venus XL2. The Lime Crime Venus XL. The Anastasia and Alyssa Edwards. The Anastasia Riviera. The Anastasia Jackie Aina. This one's my favorite out of these, but I don't ever reach for them. I've got shadows I prefer. This is Soft Glam. My very old beat up version of Modern Renaissance. The Prism palette. Carly Bible. Don't want those to fall. Then this is the Ace Beauté Flare palette. Again, they changed formulas, so the old formula just doesn't seem to matter. Then this is the, what is this one? This is the recycled one from KVD, Planet Fanatic. And then this is the holiday from last year, which was the Edge of Reality. So, those are all of the eyeshadow palettes I'm getting rid of, which that's a total of 215. Now, I realize that this is excessive, but makeup is one thing that I love. I've been having this collection for a long time, but with recent things going on, I have thought about my collection a little bit more, and I want to get more use out of it. So for me, this is the way to do it and almost start really not fresh, because this is only about half of it gone. But narrowing it down so I can really pick and choose what I want. And as this happens, like with my collection as it is, I am going to probably continue to weed it down. And as I said, everything will be on Mercari. I'll have it linked in the description box because I paid for all of this myself, which is another thing. It's like, I love makeup, but I can't take makeup to my grave. So why not spend it on something else? Because I can dupe everything that I have here with other things that I have. Now, if there are some things truly unique, then maybe. But at this point, I don't know. But I guess that's it for today's video. If you like it, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. And if you hit the notification bell icon next to it, that will notify you when I post new videos.